Snow fell quietly, but 10 lives were running out of time. On a frozen winter morning beneath a sky heavy with falling snow, a mother dog stood trembling in the cold. Only hours earlier, she had given birth to 10 tiny puppies on the bare ground, with no shelter except her own fragile body. The world around her was silent, but her cries were not. They carried fear, exhaustion, and a desperate hope that someone might hear her. How long can a mother protect her newborns when the cold never rests? She tried to curl around them, to shield them from the wind, but her strength was fading. The puppies were new to the world, blind, delicate, and helpless. Snow crept closer. Time slipped away. When the rescue team finally arrived, the scene stopped everyone in their tracks. The puppies had fallen from their small nest and were scattered across the icy ground, moving weakly, searching for warmth they could not find. Their tiny bodies trembled, and it was painfully clear that they could not survive much longer out there. The air was filled with urgency. There was no time to waste. This was the turning point. The rescuers acted quickly, lifting the puppies with gentle hands, wrapping them in warmth, and bringing them together again. In the middle of the chaos, something quietly extraordinary happened. A young woman from the rescue team looked down at the puppies and made a decision that came straight from the heart. Without planning, without hesitation, she chose to take 2 of them home with her immediately. The remaining 8 were placed under the full care of the rescue organization, where every resource would be used to protect them. Hope had arrived, but it was fragile. The mother dog, overwhelmed and frightened, disappeared after the rescue. She never returned. Ideally, a family should stay together. But in that frozen moment, the most important thing was survival, warmth, safety, a chance to live. The 2 puppies welcomed into the young woman's home were surrounded by kindness from the very first moment. She prepared warm milk, held them close to her chest, and stayed awake through the night to make sure their tiny breaths stayed steady. Though they no longer had their mother beside them, they were never alone. Every feeding became a promise. Every touch said, "You are safe now." At the rescue center, the other 8 puppies were cared for with the same devotion. Volunteers took turns feeding them warm milk, cleaning their bedding, and watching over them day and night. They were treated as if they were already family. Soft voices replaced the howling wind. Clean blankets replaced frozen ground. Slowly, fear began to loosen its grip. And then, something beautiful happened. The puppies adapted. They ate well. They slept curled together in small, warm bundles. Their bodies grew stronger with each passing day. Where weakness once lived, quiet resilience began to bloom. Could love really be powerful enough to change their fate? Just 1 week after the rescue, an update arrived that felt almost unbelievable. The puppies opened their eyes for the first time. They were noticeably bigger, healthier, and full of gentle curiosity. Their tiny movements were steadier now, their bellies round and full. Looking at them, it was hard to imagine how close they had come to being lost. If help had arrived even a little later, their story might have ended before it truly began, but it didn't. All 10 puppies survived. The two at home had begun to recognize their caregiver's voice, lifting their heads and wiggling softly whenever she came near. The 8 at the rescue center continued to thrive, surrounded by warmth, routine, and human connection. None of them knew snow anymore. None of them knew hunger. They only knew care.
А Лили тоже. Ну да, они царапаются. Ой, сегодня нам прикольно. Сегодня такой теплый денечек на травочке с собачками. Ой. Смотри-ка, что-то щенок кашляет. Ходит.
This story is not only about rescue, it is about compassion in action. About people who choose not to look away. About how a single moment of kindness can rewrite the future for 10 fragile lives. Today, those puppies are growing toward a brighter tomorrow. Soon, they will walk, play, and discover the world with confidence. One day, each of them will find a loving home where warmth is constant and love never runs out. Isn't it incredible how hope can arrive at the very last moment? If this story touched your heart, please share it so more people can believe in the power of compassion. And tell us in the comments, What part of this journey stayed with you the most?